the opinion of the court written by Chief Justice Roberts comes down to the following. You may buy health insurance that meets federal standards. That would be terrific. If you don't, you'll have to pay a tax. That's the end of the story. If you want to call that a mandate, you're welcome to do so. Everybody has been doing so. They may change. But the fact is that the opinion was explicit in saying this is a voluntary act by individuals. The government is imposing a tax, so-called equalization tax, that is meant to provide an incentive for people to provide insurance or to provide revenues to help cover the cost of care for those people who don't buy insurance and may become eligible for some public program. But the effort of the government to justify what has been called a mandate under the Interstate Commerce Clause was an argument that 5 members of the court refused to accept, including the Chief Justice, even though he ended up siding with the liberals in saying that this tax is perfectly okay to encourage people to carry insurance. The effect is that that provision 2 survives, but somewhat like the so-called individual mandate, it's voluntary. As I said, with respect to carrying insurance, you can carry the insurance. If you don't, you pay a tax. With respect to the Medicaid extension, the state can extend Medicaid if it wishes, and if it does so, it will get federal financial support. But if it doesn't, there really isn't any penalty, because what the court held was that withholding any of the funds that states now receive to support their current Medicaid activities, if they fail to implement the extensions in the Affordable Care Act, any such withholding of funds would be coercive and is contrary to the Constitution. So it's as if this was a new layer of Medicaid, newly created, and states have the option of whether to participate in it or not. Some states are slow walking or flat out resisting the creation of state health insurance exchanges, which they're supposed to do. One person I know who really keeps a close eye on what's happening at the state level thinks that probably as of January 2014, a large majority of the states will not have exchanges operating, and that there will have to be a federal exchange. The number of such states could well diminish quite quickly thereafter, or not. We can't tell. But the real challenge, I think, is going to come in those states that don't do a very good job of creating the exchanges. The federal government has some real administrative challenges to meet in figuring out how to get the subsidies out, process the necessary data. I think they're making a lot of progress on that. But this is a terribly complicated bill with a lot of provisions in it, many of which are not on intuitive grounds the simplest way of dealing with the extension of coverage. So I would expect that we're going to be surprised, and people are going to have to be nimble on their feet in order to deal with problems as they arise. The interest in the health law is quite intense, not as intense as having a job to go to, but still it's a very important issue. One of our colleagues here at Brookings commented that with respect to the court case, that winners celebrate and losers organize. So it's entirely possible that this court decision will be a message to Republicans that will say, if we want to do something about this, the court didn't do it for us, we're going to have to do it for ourselves. So there may be a greater effect there, but I believe the administration has the resources, if it mobilizes and deploys them, to make a very strong case in support of this law.